Boom, we're in.
We're
Do you
in.
have one? I think I might have one.
Do it.
Earlier today, I was singing New Kids on the Block, and I was trying to figure it out. So I was going, bo oh oh, bo oh oh, bo oh oh, Tomahawk.
Mohawk. Yeah,
Yeah, and
I love it.
welcome to I Like to Movie, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dan Scully,
My name is Garrett Smith.
and yeah, I'm glad I worked that out syllabically as I was working today,
That was
and
great.
half watching Winter Shoulder and Falcon.
Today I discovered a stoner rock band called Bone Hawk.
Bonehawk.
I was like, that's pretty close.
I mean, that's what we've had that conversation before, where people just can't not call the movie Bonehawk Tomahawk because
Bone
it
Hawk
flows
Tomahawk.
better, and it still does. It still flows better. If I wasn't so trained with our lead-in,
Of course. I'd be doing it
I
wrong
would
all
probably
the time.
still be saying Bonehawk.
I'd be doing it
Bonehawk,
wrong on
Tomahawk.
purpose. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that's the way to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that Fast 9 trailer, I am all in.
Dude, I'm very excited. That trailer is appropriately dumb in all the ways that I want it to be. Helen Mirren is behind the wheel of a car.
A magnet car.
Yes, a magnet car. By the way,
Because
magnets,
that's where we are.
apparently the plot of the entire movie.
But
That
how
is,
do they work?
Dan,
Fucking magnets, man.
that is like a 4-minute trailer for a Fast and Furious movie. And for 4 minutes, all I got was magnets.
Yeah.
They talk about magnets for all 4 of those fucking minutes. It's
And then
wild.
at the very end, a little bit of maybe space.
Yes.
Because there's a jet rocket magnet car with magnetic helmets that they're wearing.
Yes. Yeah, they appear to be wearing diving suits.
Yeah. Who knows what's going on? All I know is that there's a flying rocket ship car that is being operated by Ludacris and Tyrese.
I bet
they have spacesuits on.
I bet they like halo jump. Do you know what I mean? They get like
I
bet they get like all the way to the atmosphere, and then like the car ship thing like burns up around them just before they actually get to space. And then like it's one of those things where the shot is like from above and it burns up around them as they get right to the lens of the camera, and Ludacris like winks as they then fall back down, you know?
Tyrese has some sort of just like, I love getting high, but this is crazy. Like something like that. Yeah. I had a thought that, and this is going to sound so ridiculous, but this, at this point, and it's weird to say that this movie looks like a return to form, because that's a sentence that means nothing.
I understand.
But yeah, you catch the vibe.
It does mean something to me. I get it.
Yes, yeah. We've all had sort of the similar ride.
Yeah.
I think the universe is on the same page as to where the series rises and dips.
Yes.
But I was thinking that, okay, so magnet cars.
Mm-hmm.
What is something blockbustery that could fuck with magnets in a way that could give them an advantage? The answer, of course, is lightning. Now, if we look back at now which Ludacris song is it? Is it "Move, Bitch, Get Out the Way"? I forget, but he says
I'm not gonna know, but please.
He says we're birds of a feather now, all in together now. Just bought a plane, so we change in the weather now. And so that clicked in my head. I bet that they are up there in their rocket plane to do cloud seeding so that they can cause storms to have lightning to fuck with the magnets.
I like it.
Not the craziest thing in the series by far, but that's just where my head went because I spent all night thinking about that trailer and not sleeping.
I do. I also, by the way, I like the idea that Charlize Theron was like, all right, fine, I get it. You didn't like my hair, but I'm still going to have crazy hair. Yeah. Like, I'm still going to do something fucking weird with my hair.
She's like, can you make me look like an 11-year-old boy in the mid-90s? That's the look that I'm going for.
Straight up a bowl cut, right? With like the worst bangs ever. Yeah.
If she yelled, "Hey, Mr. Wilson," it would not be off base.
But she does appear to maybe get out of a plane in this one. Like maybe not be on a plane the entire time.
Because she is deserving of a great villain track, and the last one didn't really offer it to her.
Right.
And especially, I was just earlier this week, I was revisiting Triple X Return of Xander Cage.
Yes.
And watching Toni Collette do her villain track. I was like, man, good. I really hope that Charlize Theron gets a chance to show how hard she also gets it,
Yes.
But I want to point out about that trailer, Andy, friend of the show, Andy Elijah, fellow movie johnner, he pointed out something in our group chat that made me laugh so hard.
Yeah.
And it's that John Cena, who plays Dominic Toretto's brother, does a thing where he says, "You've always said that you don't have friends, you have family, but I'm family and you left me in the dirt. And like, since they've never once interacted or even acknowledged John Cena's presence in all the series, how does he know that that's what he always says?
Yeah.
Has he been watching the movies? And like, honestly, if it turns out that he has, that requires no extra leap in logic for me to buy within the reality of the series.
Yes.
None. Absolutely none.
I love the idea that, like, because the only thing that I could, if I had to force an explanation on that, is just like, this means since Dominic Toretto was 18 years old, he's been like saying these catchphrases. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's just always been this guy saying these things. So,
but I
even
like
before
the
we
idea.
meet him,
When we first met Toretto, he was just a petty thief that raced cars.
Yeah.
So that means that his brother, who is also now a well-connected, super rich, high-powered criminal man,
yes,
has also likely followed an adjacent path in this same
Right.
world, where he has gone from low-level thief to high-level supervillain,
yes,
which, one, opens up a new series of movies leading up to this, because as we know,
True.
in Fast 10, they're going to be best friends, because that's how
Yeah.
this works.
Yeah.
But it also means that like the giant existence altering antics of the Fast family is only half of the story.
Right.
And like, the world is aware of also of this other fucking deeply psychopathic, just impossibly physicked thing. It's insane. This is retcon the series, but like, the whole retcon of this is quite literally like, Dom, you had a brother, and he pulls the I had a life before you knew me. It's like, fuck it, we've all had lives before this started. Go.
I love that, like, we've had like 2 or 3 trailers for this now, and in every single one they do that really crazy line reading that Letty has, where she says, like, and I can't remember seeing his character's name now, but she says, like, he is Dom's brother. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. It sets up for the
Yeah. It's like, we're watching the trailer for the movie. Why is it presented like this?
I feel like that's probably not even in the movie.
It's definitely not. You know
the
what I mean?
delivery in the movie is just going to be like, he's Dom's brother, we gotta go.
Yeah.
But they just do it like that to, like, to make it a thing.
I just love that it's like it was crazy to me that was happening in a trailer for a movie the first time. This is like the 3rd trailer and they're still doing that. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so funny. There's like I thought this was funny. In the very beginning of the trailer, Dom is like saying something about like changes and like needing to like make changes, or like he has now made a change. He says something about changes, and as he's saying that, they show a shot of like a sports car that Brian would have drove, driving up to Dom's house, and I'm pretty sure they're literally trying to imply that he's like, Dom is like, listen, I've decided I've had to make some changes in my life.
Yeah.
And he's just now not
no
driving muscle cars anymore.
Muscle, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's as deep as this gets, and it probably is. Honestly,
really
what's
made me
weird
laugh.
is they could throw anything at me, and it's just like, yeah, man, this is fucking crazy. But if they can't explain why Mrs. O'Connell is back and Brian is still out of the picture in a way that's logical, I'm like, this is fake.
Yeah.
Like, because she's clearly in it and is gonna just probably exist in the capacity of like she was in Fast 5, where she was just every corrupt cop in Rio is on your tail, because their programming told us which cops are corrupt.
Well, there's a shot in the trailer where they're like looking at an iPad and looking at what appears to be like pictures of Brian on an iPad, as if he's dead in universe, and they're like, oh, mourning him and like remembering him. It's like, I mean, in retrospect, it is actually weird that they didn't kill him in universe, because since then they have treated him like he's dead in universe. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's well, I remember when we saw Furious 7, that was the big thing, is we all kind of just figured that he was going to die in it. And that they would do it in a way that was tasteful. And instead, he just took the exit. Which was beautiful. And like, I think
beautifully done. Is like the right ending for that character. Whatever. It all, but in retrospect,
so far that it's like, the ending. But now that it's not, it's like, Yeah, it's very, especially because they named the baby after him,
Yes,
as if he's
yes,
dead, when really
yes,
at that moment we just assume he stayed home to watch the game or something.
yes.
And
Now,
like,
hold on. Here's the other thing, though, right? So they're looking at a picture of him on an iPad. Is it possible that the context for that is they're going to get really nuts, and the plot of this movie will be that, like, Dom's brother has kidnapped Brian? Like, will Brian actually be a piece of this puzzle? And since we know the actor's dead, he never really has to be in it, but is like a pawn that is now being used, like, against the family. Do you know what I'm saying?
I love that idea a lot.
Kind of, right? Like, I
Like, I'm
think I'm
real
kind
into
of
that.
into that, especially because, like, now that I'm saying this, I kind of remember that there were weird rumors about, like, oh, they're gonna get his brother to come back and, like,
Yeah,
shoot some scenes. Like, so if he only has to be in it as, like, a guy behind bars, you know what I mean? Or, like, a guy that once again at the end of the movie we see him on a beach with his wife and children, having now been rescued by the family. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that can be done. Have
yeah,
you ever
like,
watched the Weta thing about how they built him using his brothers?
no, but that's a crazy sentence.
No, it's, I mean, it's a really, like,
Yeah.
Weta stepped in to do it, and like it's a really fascinating thing, and they show how they did it, because I mean it is really well done for what it's
Yeah, yeah.
worth. And if you watch that, like, I we're not so far off. We might even already be there, that like he could have as much of a part as he did in Furious 7, and
Right.
it would be pretty. I mean, like, fucking Army of the Dead removed somebody entirely that already shot their part and put Tig Notaro in completely. And
Right.
from what I've heard, it's as seamless as can be. So
Yeah.
I see no reason why Brian couldn't still be a character, even if just on a monitor,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
doing a beach thing. Like, and if they do that, like, I'm not the person to say whether it would be disrespectful to his memory or not, but
Right.
as a fan of the series, I am fucking into it.
I mean, it's like,
Into it.
it's like we're saying, because, like, at this point, they're kind of treating him like he's dead anyway. And that,
Yeah.
because of that story decision they made, which I think was the right one for that movie, like, he is alive in universe. Like, at this point, I almost kind of want them to kind of utilize his presence. You know
He's
what I mean?
family.
Yeah, yeah,
He's part of the family. No, I honestly, I agree. But if that's the case,
yeah.
then maybe that car pulling up to Dom's house
Whoa,
is
whoa.
Brian. But
Is Brian.
it could very much be like you're saying, like he could
Yeah,
be on a monitor and all that as a ransom thing, and then at the very end, they show the house under construction.
yeah, yeah.
At the very end, he pulls up to the big family barbecue with Coronas,
Right, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm into that.
yeah.
And they have Paul Walker's brother hold baby Brian, and they put
Oh my
adult
God.
Brian's face on it, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, Dom, it's great to meet your kid." And he's like, "Oh, I could probably be a father." And then it's I love how Vin Diesel. He's just Stallone. I can't do
He's
his
just
voice.
become Stallone in all my impressions of him. It's,
His voice is not capturable.
dude, a friend of mine texted me after watching the Fast 9 trailer and was like, "Hey, I've never watched any of these movies before, but I know that you like them. Why does Vin Diesel sound like this?" That was his first and only question.
Because he's a muscle-bound freak in his
But
50s.
it's like, I like the idea that it's like from afar, people are like, listen, I'm at least aware enough to know that, like, that's not what that man sounds like. Like,
Yeah, he
why
hasn't
does he
always sounded
sound
that
like
way.
this? Yeah.
Well, now he's a recording artist, so
Right.
he's got to work that smooth, velvety voice. But honestly, even watching Triple X the other day, the third one,
Yeah.
where it's weird because Dominic Toretto is almost a non-character. Like, he's
Hmm.
really not a character anymore.
Yeah.
Um, and it's weird that Xander Cage like is,
Yes.
and Vin Diesel's kind of really charming in that movie.
He
He's
is. I
funny
agree.
and weird, but he is marble mouthy,
Yeah.
and
Totally.
more so than in the earlier entries.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a really bizarre thing.
but I will say that as Vin Diesel's acting prowess starts to fade, John Cena is becoming a progressively better actor.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I didn't always enjoy him in movies. I've always enjoyed him. He actually seems to be a good guy, and I appreciate him as a presence. But
Yeah.
like now, when I see him show up and stuff, I'm like, oh, he's got the timing, he's got the rhythm,
Hmm.
he's funny, he gets it. So like, I'm definitely, now that The Rock, Jason Statham, and Vin Diesel can't work together because they all have tiny penis fights. Um, I am happy that John Cena can step in and seems to just like not be a completely egotistical, muscle-bound hunk.
He for sure
That's good.
seems like an appropriate fit for like
Yeah.
this universe in these movies to me. Like, and he looks like he's going to be a lot of fun, you know,
Yeah, I
like,
think so.
and I agree with you. Like, the thing that I've always kind of enjoyed about him, because was he in what movie am I thinking of where he just plays like a sexual partner for somebody and it's just like really
Oh,
fucking goofy?
Trainwreck,
Yes.
which is
Um,
a good movie. I actually really thought Amy Schumer did a wonderful job in that movie.
I like that movie quite a bit, and he is just the thing I remember really liking about him in that, and everything I've seen him in since. I feel like it's the same, even if he is like, and I agree with you, he's gotten like better with timing and stuff. Even if he's not good at that stuff, he's really like giving himself to the movie. He's being like really silly in a way that is like actually like not because he's naked, he is naked, but like nakedly brave. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
there's
That
no
I
ego on it.
yeah,
It's how
I
The
really
Rock
appreciate
used to
that.
be, and now, and I don't know The Rock. He still seems like a good guy, but
Yeah, yeah.
like we've had this conversation
He's got a
before.
whole
The
persona.
Rock, he's got a whole persona, and like The Rock was so much better when he wasn't just content with making perfectly mediocre movies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then also, if we remember on some previous entries of the Fast series, him, Diesel, and Statham all had rules about who could look certain amounts of
Yeah, there's all
victorious
those
in fights.
stories about the contractual stuff with that, right?
And that's just so weird. And I feel like Cena's not at a point where he can command that, but he also doesn't give the vibe that he would command that. You know
Yeah,
what he
right.
gives off? He gives off the vibes where, like, one of the things I appreciate about Kurt Russell as an action star is that you can in a like a fuck, why can't I think of the name of the greatest movie ever? Tango and Cash.
Uh-huh.
In Tango and Cash, you can put him in drag for the final act of the movie, and he's just going to be goofy about it. You can cover his face in smeared lipstick and make him second fiddle to his sidekick in Big Trouble in Little China, and he's going to go with it. And like Statham used to do that. Statham doesn't do that anymore. The Rock used to do that. The Rock doesn't do that anymore. Vin Diesel never really did that. But I feel like John Cena is always going to have that. I think he understands his inherent way about him. I don't know, but I could be wrong because all these other guys went down that path.
He definitely at least seems like he's here to play, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure if these stories are true, I'm sure he was just like, yeah, I'm from wrestling. I'll be your heel. Like, I can do
Yeah.
that, you know? Like, I'll call you
If you
Big
could
Brother
see me.
throughout the whole movie, you know? Like, that's fine.
It's
That's,
time to go down, big brother.
yeah, yeah. Like, that's fine.
No,
I can
I
do
think
that.
you're right. I think
Yeah.
that he is a good choice for it, and I don't know. He's also just like he's got the most fulfilled Make-A-Wish wishes of anybody in history, and like I forget what the stat is, but it's apparently like even if you cut his in half, he's still in first. Like he's just
Okay.
a dude who's just always gonna do the right thing, it seems.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He seems to approach a project with, I would hope not with the Vin Diesel angle of how will I look best in this project, but how will the project be best with me in it. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hope that my assumption is correct because I'm making nothing but assumptions for the last 10 minutes. But it is. I'm very excited that he's there.
Hey,
I'm a
by the
big
way,
fan of the Marine. We'll say.
the I've never seen the Marine. I guess, do I want to see the Marine?
You totally okay. So the Marine is
Yeah.
quite literally Robert Patrick T1000
Yeah.
kidnaps John Cena's wife
Yeah.
and takes her to a set piece that you go, holy shit, this place like is gonna explode
Yeah.
if you even look at it funny.
Yeah.
And then John Cena shows up and beats the shit out of people, and then it explodes as he dives into water, but he
Yeah.
doesn't quite get the wife. So Robert Patrick takes her to an even more explosive looking set piece, and it just keeps happening. And they just get more and more explosive, and it usually ends with him diving into water as the explosions happen. It's just a good old like 80s throwback
Sounds like
Rock'em Sock'em
Commando.
action movie. It's
Yeah.
very commando-y, and I haven't seen it in a while, but it's probably of that same level of quality.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Marine's just a blast,
Okay.
man. I think you'd love it. Yeah.
I'm gonna add that to my watch list.
And I'm pretty sure that it also satisfies the commando need where it's just like good guy, bad guy, just fuck. Get it over
Yeah.
with. I
Yes.
know that's what this is based in. The
Yes.
wife is almost immaterial. Just kiss your peepees and go. But, you know, But you gotta have things blowing up first.
I do, by the way, just like want to talk about the fucking magnet car thing just
Yeah.
really quick. Only because
I
like
had a cat growing up named Magnet.
Whoa, that's a good cat name.
Is it? I always
I
thought
think
it was
so.
silly. I mean, his name was Magnet because I was 5 and my sister was 7, and we were tasked with naming the cat.
Yeah.
And my dad was like, "Yeah, he sat on my shoulder and he just kind of sat there like a magnet." And we were like, "That's the name. I'm 5. You're 7.
Yeah.
We can't think more than this." So every time they say magnets, I'm like, "Oh, I miss that little guy who was actually like the biggest asshole cat ever."
Those are the best pet names, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Kids come up with. We had a dog named Cam, and I think it was just because like maybe someone pulled a camera out to take a picture of it that we got it. I don't know.
Perfect.
You know?
One of Jenna's former castmates had a dog that has the best dog name I have ever heard.
Huh?
The dog's name was Ding Dong Bareface.
Okay.
And I've seen pictures of Ding Dong Bareface, and that is Ding Dong Bareface's dog. R.I.P. to Ding Dong. But anyway, so magnets. Let's talk about them. How do they work?
Well, the only thing that I'm like kind of curious about is because it's Justin Lin again, right? That's like the big deal. He's back.
Yes. Is it?
Right? I think
Yeah.
so.
It's him or Juan, right? I know that they're both each on the series and they have a 3-letter last name.
Yes. Juan was Furious 7 and Aquaman. I think he's...
Yeah, because Lin's like the kind of architect of much of the series.
He's 3, 4, 5, and 6 is Lin.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's exciting he's back. I think it's him.
It is him. Confirmed.
I think, the series has kind of gotten away from the practical car stunts that really only existed in the really cool extreme way once in 5, right? Like 5 is kind of the movie where they did a lot of like practical car stunts, it seems like.
I think that like the highway scene in 6 has a lot of practical work.
Yes.
I thought that in Furious 8, when they're like dumping the cars out the windows when she had the remote control cars, I thought that was all CGI. I actually watched a thing recently that was mostly practical.
Jesus.
And then they just like sweetened it. But like there's like footage of like real cars just getting shoveled out of parking garages.
Jesus, okay.
Yeah. So but I think because of the visual quality of these movies, it's often tough to tell because they sweeten it and they shine things up.
Yeah, that's
true. But there are, I think 5 and 6 are the 2 entries where it actually does feel practical and like it pointedly wants you to make to feel practical about it, if that makes sense.
I am looking forward to whether he's able to do that with this movie. One, considering some of what we see. I mean, obviously, like cars are literally like fucking, I don't know, they're Tarzan now. They can like hang on to wires and swing around cliffs and stuff, like so. But like,
if the horn makes the Tarzan noise at some point, which once again, no leap of logic would be required to make that happen, I'd be into it.
I would love to see Vin Diesel just press the the horn part of the steering wheel, which I don't think I've ever seen happen in one of these movies at all. I would love to see him do that and have it be a Tarzan like, as that's like happening.
When I was done pissing my pants and laughing, I'd start applauding. So it's a good move.
But I will say, magnet cars, fucking magnets being used to like pull cars around. Magnets being used.
It's insane.
It sounds insane, right?
It is insane. It's an insane thing that we're about to watch.
Yeah. Magnets being used to pull cars around is something I could see being able to do. Not literally, but like putting cables on cars and fucking pulling them like through something, right? Like you could probably quote unquote do that. And I'm just looking forward to whether it feels like he did. Like, I'm so curious some of the shots of him actually doing that,
I trust that a lot of it will be.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think that is what he brought to the series was like, I mean, of course, cars have kind of always been a part of the series. It's sort of in the name. Yeah. But I think what he brought to the series, especially in 5 when they started to get it, was like, we have to go big with these stunts.
Yeah.
And if we're going to be stunt forward, because like, there's like cool tricks and stuff in, 1 through 4. But in 5, it was just like, listen, we're competing with Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
We are now doing heists.
Yeah.
Like, as it were, heist movies.
Yeah.
If we're going to be car forward, then we actually have to take that seriously. And that feels like Lin's thing.
Yes.
And that's kind of something that felt quite absent from 8.
Yes.
And so yeah, I trust it, and especially because to me the idea of magnet cars isn't invoked. I know the idea of magnet cars isn't invoked necessarily as a escalation so
Yeah.
much as that's a really clever way to do a cool new visual tool in a car chase.
I was literally
And if
thinking
you look
that
at the
then.
way that like the opening fist fight between Statham and The Rock with the rotating camera and stuff, that
Yeah, yeah.
like that was
7?
that was seven, so
Si-
that was Juan, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But okay, well then let's go to let's go to Fast Five when they're dragging the safe,
yeah, 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 yeah,
and doing that kind of thing. That whole like that is the most illogical way to steal that.
yes,
But it was a great way to take what would be a standard car chase and add an element of visual flair. And
yeah.
I think that's what this is.
I agree.
And I am very confident that Lynn and that saw that concept of magnet cars as a opportunity to just beef up the direction in a fun way.
That's what I thought too, because it's like, I mean, this series is going to space, right? Like, I feel like at this
Yeah.
point, like that just is almost a given that it just is going to happen. But like, I do think that like the reason Lynn liked making these movies seems to be coming back to them. Blah blah blah. It's like the practical being able to do a crazy practical car stunt, right? Like that's what is interesting or
Oh
exciting
yeah,
about these movies. And so
they
it's
have
like,
more
okay,
money than God.
yeah, and so it's like we have to go to space, so we're gonna do that. We got fucking Charlize in a space plane again with a big magnet on the bottom. Like, don't worry, we're going to space. But on the ground, all we're talking about is fucking magnets. That's
Yeah.
all we're doing. Because magnets can actually look fucking cool with like some real cars. Like we can do some
Oh
like
yeah.
real shit with that.
It's
I
a
think
way
you're right.
to like sciency explain physics that are inhuman.
Yes.
And physics that are inhuman have always been an invitation, at least to a receptive director, to do something cool with the visuals. And I think that Lynn is like the guy for
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
I'm all in.
So I'm pretty excited. I think it's like a fun. It's exactly what I want as a Fast and Furious fan out of one of these
Oh
movies,
yeah.
or it seems like it. You know.
And even like I did not care much for Fate of the Furious. I mostly disliked Hobbs and Shaw, but they did both deliver on exactly what these movies are supposed to deliver. I would just say they did so in a flavor that felt off.
They
And
to me feel like they do a good job of being like quote unquote canon movies, and I don't mean
yeah,
the company canon, although kind of.
yes,
But
it's not off.
but like they don't feel like they're so off brand that it's like, oh god, they really broke the formula. They really
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like the wheels don't fall off, but like
they didn't turn their
but
back on family.
that's all they're doing. You know what I mean? It's like all they're
Yeah.
doing is being good canon. They're not necessarily being like good exciting entries in the series, you know?
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense, and it's actually kind of functional because like
Yeah.
it's very clear that The Rock and Statham are not in this next entry,
Right.
at least not the
As far
focal
as we
point
know.
in it.
Yeah.
Which I think is probably the right move.
Yeah.
Although I mean, if there's a chance that we can get a Hobbs facing off against other Toretto in a full-on just like. You know what I would love to see? Okay, so Hobbs, Toretto, Shaw, and fuck it, other Shaw too. And each of them just has a box of tools. And so it's just a royal rumble of them. Wrenches, tire irons, chains. And if that Spark idea, even though it was only imaginary, if it should come out, that's where it's coming out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I at this point, fuck it. But like, and what's crazy about it now is that they did the smart thing of now that Han is not dead.
Yes.
I guess we can trust that Shaw didn't kill him.
Right.
So like
Right.
that sort of fixes that. But now that they're in Divergent series as well,
Yes.
they can now take their time coming up with a reason to explain it. Because that always it rubbed me the wrong way, but at the same time it was like, well, fuck it. I mean, if that's what it takes to get us here, like it's just what we're doing.
Yeah.
But like it always rubbed me the wrong way. But at the same time, it's like now they have all the time in the world to retcon that because they've done all the. It's fucking mental, man. It's so crazy.
I cannot wait to find out like what the deal with Han is.
Yeah.
I just
How
can't
is he
wait
still
to
alive?
find out what they do. Like, cause dude, I mean, he could be like a clone made from dinosaur DNA. I don't fucking know. Like this series could literally tell me anything, and I'd be like, yeah, that feels right.
Yeah,
Like
that works.
he could be sentient Nas, and I would be like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, yeah, all right, yeah,
He's just like, no, I'm Lon, his brother, but just call me Han. They pull the beer
yeah,
fest.
yeah.
I'd be into that. I mean, I think they're just going to do the same thing where it's either he was blown to safety by the explosion rather than engulfed by it, which was the Letty explanation,
Yeah.
or it's going to be there was some big plan where he's actually buddies with Shaw, and it was important for something that they're going to write later that him and Shaw make it look like that's what happened.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I think it would be, by the way, this would be so insulting to this character and this actress, but it would make me laugh if they're like, oh my God, Han, you're still alive. What happened to Giselle? And he was just like, no, to be perfectly clear, she is definitely dead.
Yeah.
Like
I tried to
100%
scrape her
fully
ass off
dead.
that runway.
Yeah.
There's no reassembly there.
Yeah.
It would take some kind of like Wonder Woman to put her back together.
Yeah. Oh no, she's fully dead.
She's fully dead. She's in a much more financially secure position in Hollywood, so she's fucking dead.
Yeah.
That's as dead as she's gonna get.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a.
They're gonna be like, oh, actually, this is Han's son who was genetically altered to age 3 times the rate of another human being. So now he's just the age that Han was when he died.
They call him the Drift Prince.
Yeah.
Oh, he's back, baby. Yeah. No, I mean, whatever it takes to get Han back, because he was another one where they fucked up when they killed him the first time, and everyone was like, shit, he's the best. Like, everybody responded like, he's kind of the coolest dude. Like, he's the coolest character the series has ever had.
Yeah.
So they're like, all right, we'll mess with the timeline to bring him back. And then for some fucking reason, had to do it again. Well, not had to do it again, but like eventually the timeline caught up, and it was like we gotta kill him. But who knows? Who knows? I mean,
the most fun thing this movie could do is try and convince me that this is also another flashback movie somewhere else on the timeline. That would be incredible. The most fun thing it could do.
That would be absolutely incredible. It would make, actually, you know what? It's not that hard to do, I think, because on the one hand, there is that would get rid of the baby, so you don't have to worry about like, Dom, you're a father.
Yes.
It could bring the baby's mom back from the dead, because remember, she was very unceremoniously murdered so that he could get back with Letty.
I know.
And it would put Han back in, although I gotta say, Han's definitely, I mean, time has affected his look as well. I mean, all of us.
That's what I mean. That's why it would be a fucking Wet Hot American Summer version of Fast and Furious, you know?
Which totally works at this point. But like, you could still squeeze it in there, because if I remember correctly, I haven't watched Fate since the theaters.
Yeah.
It was suggested that I believe Charlize Theron knew him from something before.
God, yeah,
maybe
you might be right.
And so this could be it. I don't know.
Yes,
I'm almost 100% positive that is not the case of what this movie is, but shit, man.
Wouldn't that be
like,
amazing?
Fuck it, yeah.
I would love that.
We've reached the point where, like, even just being like, Shaw killed Han, which is a bit and is fun and all that, but we've reached the point where like we've cleared the does anything matter hurdle and landed squarely in no, and it's. At this point, it's like, yeah, man, just go. Go with it.
Well, I tweeted something the other day. I wonder how you feel about this. Something that occurred to me watching this new trailer that I thought was just, I don't know, kind of a fun thought, was just like, the Fast and the Furious universe kind of does fan service, like, right, quote unquote, in my opinion. Where, like, they basically just go, it seems to me, a lot of the series functions on the fans going like, wouldn't it be cool if... And the creators going like, yeah, that probably would be cool. And and kind of trying it, but never, hey, we're sorry about X. Like the movies never seem to like retcon in a way that's like, oh, you didn't like that we did that. We're so sorry we did that.
Well, yeah, they choose retcon as opposed to course correction.
Right, yes.
You know, like, and I think that's smart. Because there's like an implicit deal between us, which is they'll give us what we want. We can't ask too many questions.
Right.
Like it's kind of, and it's a deal that has consistently mostly delivered.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels, as a fan of that series, I get a lot of enjoyment out of some of that fan service that they are giving us and have been giving us. Uh, in ways that I think I am sometimes frustrated by in other properties. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it feels like it's because frankly, it's like in Star Wars, it's like, oh, it feels like some of this stuff is like an apology for previous choices,
Yeah.
as opposed to like oh yeah, that's as opposed to like, we agree, fans, that's like a fun, cool idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
No, yeah, I know. I agree 100% because like the last Star Wars felt very apologetic, and it was an
yeah,
apology that I didn't feel needed to be made.
right.
And
It like,
so, yeah, it feels
and
weird. Yeah.
it maybe this is a view to like, maybe they could have done some of the quote unquote course correcting they did. They just had to do it without the apologetic tone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Agreed.
and anyway,
It's certainly possible.
not to throw those two things against each other when they don't need to be at all, Star Wars and Fast
No,
and Furious,
it's
but
apples and oranges, but no, I think you're right. There is a tonal difference. It is the kind of thing like, uh, yeah, like, and I think it also just becomes too like, Star Wars seems to have like an image that it wants to uphold as like the end all be all greatest blockbuster,
yeah.
whereas Fast and Furious tends to, live its life more a quarter mile at a time.
Yes.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I agree 100%. I know exactly what you mean, and I think you're right. It is
Yeah.
just a matter
Like,
of tone, because
this,
even the things that I don't like about Star Wars now, I go, man, that kind of like ruins it for me a little. Whereas
yeah,
like the bad things in Fast and the Furious, I go, it didn't work for me, but I mean, rum, 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 rum. Like,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just in.
Well, and like, for instance, like, they never did really, in my opinion, go like, oh yeah, sorry about bringing Shaw into the universe as a good guy after having him kill Han. Like, they obviously know that people don't like that. That's why we're getting justice for Han.
Yeah,
But like, they're just giving us Han back. They're not like, you know what I mean? Like, they're not
yeah.
like, they
Yeah, and they
still,
moved Shaw over to his own thing.
yeah, they just like allowed Shaw to be what Shaw is, still be part of the universe exactly as they included him. They retconned his own backstory to be sort of not that different from our own heroes.
Yeah,
They, like, you know what I mean? Like, they just keep steamrolling forward and just kind of being like, yeah, it is better for Han to be back. So he's back. There you
yeah,
go.
he's
You know,
back.
like,
You're right.
yeah,
Shaw did kill Han,
yeah,
but you're wrong, because maybe he didn't. And
yes,
then
yeah,
boom.
yeah,
No, I think you're right. And honestly, like I said, they have all the time in the world now to fix that, and I'm not thinking about it anymore,
right.
because I'm just watching Han snack and be the coolest dude in the room.
Dude, it is absolutely incredible to me how much these movies. I mean, they're also on the internet, right? Like, they know what we love about them, I guess, at this point. But
Oh
like,
yeah,
I love that every goddamn shot of him in the trailer, he's snacking on a potato chip. Like, every
he's a
single
dude who
time.
looks good eating. He's cool about it. But if you remember, that's a
Because he
character.
quit smoking.
It's because he quit smoking. Yes,
Yeah.
it's written into his character trait. So like, it's so wild. Like they don't ever take the approach of like, all right, let's put some nuance in here and try to like really flesh this out. They just like throw more writing at it. Any
Yes.
problem, they're just like, just write over it, write
Yeah.
more words, go
Yep.
go, and it just works. It
Yeah.
just keeps working.
Dude, it
It's
is.
that earnestness we always talk about. It's like, oh, you like that? Well, wait till you see this. Oh, you didn't like that? Don't worry, you're gonna like this next thing. It's just nonstop.
And it is soap opera in practice, right? It's
Yeah,
a quarter mile at a time. It's, oh, that quarter we wrote ourselves into is a whole new season of TV.
yeah.
Like, it's just like,
Oh, the Fast and the Furious movies are like the best TV show.
yeah,
It's the best show on TV in the movies,
yeah.
although
Well,
probably on
and
TV.
just like a soap opera, any corner they write themselves into, the writing themselves out of it just becomes a whole movie, right? Like, that
Yeah,
just becomes the concept of a movie. Like, it's, and they didn't write themselves into the corner of Paul Walker dying, obviously, but like, that's a corner they get written into, and then like write themselves out of it in a really like kind of remarkable, amazing way.
there's a writer who's like, I've typed my way out of worse.
Yeah,
He's dead. Got it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I
Who
mean,
can we get? John Cena. Done.
the most emotional I've ever been in like a blockbuster, maybe. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
the weirdest thing,
yeah,
is that at the end of the day, we really, 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 really do care.
yes,
We really care, and not care like, oh, I care what happens, but care like, I
yeah,
care that I care because they care.
Yes. Yeah. A member of their family has passed on, and that is upsetting to me.
And we're all family.
Yep. Yep.
We're all part of it.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. What is it? June? June
Dude,
something?
these movies better fucking be building to a like Shaw versus Toretto like war movie.
Oh,
That
yeah.
that better be what this is all about. Like, because it would even make sending Shaw off into his own universe kind of that much sweeter if that circles back around into Fast 10 or 11, or because now he's talking about making this a trilogy too.
Oh,
You know,
nice.
whatever ends up being the quote unquote last Fast and Furious movie. Like if Shaw gets brought back out of his own pocket universe for that, so that it's a Toretto's versus Shaw, family on family, showdown. That better be what these are building to. I don't know why
I'm into it. I mean, we've pitched this before. I would love for this to lead to a Toretto family versus Shaw family.
Yep.
Papa Toretto comes in, and
Yep.
since the Toretto family is just deeply racially ambiguous, that
Yep.
father can either be Antonio Banderas or Sylvester Stallone.
Yes.
I'm into either one of those.
Yes.
And it's about to be a war. We get a little taste of the war, but then Papa Toretto and Mama Shaw fall in love, and they
Yes.
get married. And
I
now
love
it's
it.
all one big family. And I don't know, they open a car dealership or some shit.
I love it. Yeah, it ends in a marriage.
It would be
ends in
amazing.
a wedding. Yeah.
And then
Dude,
digital Paul Walker would be like, and I now pronounce you family.
Yeah.
And then,
I'm not kidding. If they did that, and they should do that, the finale of the Fast and Furious universe could just be a recreation of the opening of The Godfather, where it's just this big wedding between these families. Fucking Dom is sitting in a dark room petting a cat, doing favors for his family.
He's petting his baby.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's doing favors for the family. You got to kiss the ring, but it's like a gasket nozzle.
Yes.
And then they have Tyrese is out singing, oh, when a moon hits your eye, like doing things like that. I would watch the shit out of that.
They could and should do that.
And then they'd go one step further. They'd finally give us what we've all been waiting for, and it would be like Fast 11, Honeymoon in Space.
Yes.
And it's just Helen Mirren and Sylvester Stallone in space, and she's just like, "Oh, I do enjoy driving on the moon." He's like, "Yeah, it's a good moon, you guys."
Yeah.
Cuff and linked. I'm very into this because that's I think the beauty of the Fast thing is that they've gotten so much license that anything goes now.
Yep.
And there's just no limit to the ridiculousness, and I think everybody's on board to just see how hardcore it's gonna get.
Yeah, I mean, it's like at this point, this series is only limited by the imagination of the writers and filmmakers.
There's no rules, and as long as we have Tyrese to look at what's happening and act incredulously about it.
Yeah.
Like, there's a line in the trailer. He was like, "You ever think back of all the stuff we've done?" And I'm like, "Yeah, every day." And it's crazy. If I did one of those things ever, it would be the story of my life for my whole life until I'm dead.
Yes.
And you do 100 of those things in every movie, and it's nothing.
I also like that at this point, I'm pretty sure in at least 3 of these movies, Tyrese has given this exact speech. It's just each time there's 2 more movies worth of stuff to add to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's just like, the whole thing with the wrecking ball, and then there was the funeral with the flying thing and the towers in Dubai and all that.
I'm pretty sure in 7, when they go to jump out of the plane, he does the same thing. He goes, "We done this before. We done a tank, and now we're jumping out of planes." Like,
oh, hell no.
Yeah.
And then he does it again in this movie when they're like about to go to space. He says something when he puts the helmet on where he's just like, "We're going into space." And then Ludacris like rolls his eyes like, "Oh, I'm just the coolest dude." And he is. He's the coolest dude. I saw a clip showed up on Instagram the other day. I don't know who was being roasted, but it was Pete Davidson doing a roast, and on the dais was Ludacris, and Pete Davidson's just like, "Oh, Ludacris is here tonight. For the people who don't know him, you probably heard him on your mom's Now That's What I Call Music CD." And I was like, Pete Davidson, I don't always get you, but that's fucking funny.
Yeah,
that's
really
real
good.
Fucking funny.
That's very funny.
And Ludacris gives him a look like, "You motherfucker."
Yeah.
It's so good. He gives him the look that he always gives Tyrese that's just like, "You're crazy, man.
Yeah.
You're crazy.
I know. Yeah, I love that Ludacris's function in this universe is to basically be like, I don't know why everybody thinks this is so crazy. And it's like, are you in these movies?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
He's like, well, you know, the whole life before you knew it, I did shit like this.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he was just like a speaker salesman in the second one, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And now he's the most powerful hacker in the world.
I believe he has a garage and seems to be good at betting on car races. That's my memory of his role in that movie.
And they all have extensive martial arts training.
Yes, yes.
All of them.
I mean, this movie seems to have at least one very pop-tarty, seemingly in an Asian city, women, doing karate on each other sequence, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, sold.
That's like a lot of my favorite things.
Yeah, that's like, well, I mean, since so many movies do have to have like a portion in China for the Chinese market.
Yeah.
And Hong Kong is a super neon place.
Yep.
If Godzilla versus Kong is to be believed.
Yes.
Yeah, like that suits this movie perfectly. I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm
I feel
absolutely
like
sold.
There's so many movies that have like this sequence in them now, like even that one Avengers movie had Hawkeye in an Asian city somewhere, a neon lit city doing literally this, just doing karate on people,
I mean, that's all you need.
Yeah,
really.
I mean I think there's probably a lot of things that are unfortunate about that is just occurring in all of our movies, and maybe the way that it's occurring too, where it's just like white people showing up to do karate and these like say, but I gotta say, into all of that stuff.
It certainly could look a lot uglier than it does.
Yeah. I am into all of those things. Like I do like watching people do karate in neon lit cities.
Did you say white people doing karate? Because I just got a delivery from Vinegar Syndrome today of one of my favorite movies that I ever saw at Exhumed Films, Death Promise.
I don't know what this is. Tell me all about it.
I swear you were there for this. This is the one where like white boy karate. It's in the 70s. The lead guy is just like a white dude with the Bruce Lee haircut, and his landlord killed his dad, and so now him and his buddies are doing karate to beat up and kill all landlords. The slogan, of course, being "Filthy rich landlords get away with murder. It's time they pay for it."
I mean, what a great time for this movie. I don't remember this one. I don't know that I've seen this one. This may not have been
Speedy Leacock.
I don't know Speedy Leacock.
Well, it's just a great name. This is the one that ends with some very good dummy work of a guy being thrown off a building.
I don't know.
I mean, this is not a spoiler, but a villain gets thrown off a building, and it's the most ragdoll dummy. And he like hits the ground, and then the heroes are just like, all right, let's get out of here. And as they say that, the credits just start to roll. Like it's one of those movies. But I saw that it was knocked down a couple bucks on Vinegar Syndrome, and it had to get it. And it came in today, and I am probably going to watch this tonight.
This sounds like my cup of tea. I would like to borrow that at some point.
Yeah, man, definitely. We'll do some trades once we're all vaccinated, which I am all vaccinated now.
Congratulations.
I just gotta have that two week waiting period.
Rock on. Yeah, I'll be. Once my waiting period is over, it'll be like the end of May, basically. Like end of May is when I am ready to rock.
I'll have a week from Sunday. Second one was pretty rough though. I had a pretty strong reaction, but I mean, you sleep it off, and it came on as fast as it left. Like I went to bed the night of the vaccine, like with a little ache. Woke up the next day, I was like parched and achy. But then by the time I was ready to go to bed, I was like, I feel good. So yeah, I know they put something in me, so it worked. I had a reaction.
Yeah, it's like a couple weeks before I get my second dose, so we'll see how that goes.
Nice,
dude.
Nice.
It's
happening faster than I ever would have expected, so I'm just so excited.
I feel like we can probably wrap this up, but you did remind me about something. We're talking about the ragdoll dummy. Have I talked about? I know you and I have texted about it a little bit, but have I talked about Kamen Rider on the show at all?
I don't know if we've talked about it on the show. You may have brought it up. But yeah.
It's a 70s. It's a Japanese show from the 70s. It's like a kids action show basically.
Yeah.
In the vein of like Power Rangers,
Well, I'm familiar with Masked Rider, the American version.
American adaptation, kind of. Yeah. In the same way that Power Rangers was Super Sentai, Super
Sentai, that's it. Yeah.
So I've been watching the original Kamen Rider series. It's on Pluto TV if anybody's curious, which is like a free app that you can get.
I love Pluto. Pluto's great, man.
Me too. We fall asleep to it all the time. You can just put Bob Ross on, fall the fuck asleep. It's great.
Bob Ross is on there. Nice.
Yeah, dude, it's a Bob Ross channel. It's all the place. Bob Ross.
Nice. Yeah. See, I always go to Just Watch because you can't select movies in Pluto.
Yeah.
select a movie, click over, and then
Yep.
yeah.
But fucking, there's an episode of Kamen Rider. Kamen Rider is great. It's really fun. Kamen Rider is about, by the way, basically the way it's described is like karate bug men that ride motorcycles. It's literally like a guy that dresses like a bug that is real good at karate and rides a motorcycle and fights Nazis. It's kind of the plot.
Nazi fighting karate bug bikers.
Yes, it's
Cyber
kind
Squad?
of incredible. I really love it. The Nazis are always making a new quote unquote cyborg every episode, which is really just a like manimal. You know,
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
a Power Rangers villain.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. It's like a
it's
Power
the
Rangers
costume
villain.
they made that week.
Exactly. Yes. It's super fun. I love it. But there's an episode. They do a lot of dummy work, right? People get thrown off of stuff all the time, and it's always a dummy, and it's always really funny. But there was one episode that opened with a little kid, and I mean a little kid, like a 5-year-old boy, walking on a trail on like a cliffside, and a villain came out and just pushed him off the cliff. A fucking dummy flew head over heels down the cliff.
And limbs bending in ways they
Limbs
shouldn't go.
bending all over the place. The camera followed the dummy down until the dummy smashed into the ground. And then the camera cut, and the little boy got up, dusted himself off, and walked off camera. It was the funniest thing. And then, okay.
Can
so
I
that
find this clip online, or can you isolate the episode?
For you. Yes,
Okay,
I will
'cause,
find
yeah,
the episode for you.
I'm not going to go through all of Kamen Rider, but
No.
I would love to watch some of it.
I'll find this episode for you, because the best part about it is that blew my fucking mind. It really made me laugh that the kid just got up and walked it off after that. At the end of the episode, that kid is reunited with his father, and his dad says to him, "Hey, I heard you fell off a cliff. Don't go doing that again."
The kid's like, "Okay, Dad, I won't."
It fucking made me laugh so hard that the dad was like, "Hey, I heard you fell off a cliff. Watch yourself, clumsy." Like,
it's like, "Where were you, Dad? Like, aren't you my caretaker?"
oh my
That's
god,
insane.
Kamen Rider's great. I love everything
Well,
about it.
I'll say it again. The opening of Color of Night, it's not a
Yes.
ragdoll, but it does involve the longest person falling out of a window sequence I've ever seen. They fall for, I think you can probably give it a solid 10 count. It's
That's
pretty incredible. So yeah, that's when we do some swaps later on,
Yes.
I'll definitely toss you Color of Night, because that shit is fucking.
Is it quote unquote in slow motion, or do they fall for like 10 seconds?
They fall for like 10 seconds. And it's like, well, because like they fall and then it like cuts to a reaction and then cuts back and then cuts to reaction and cuts back. But it's like, it's just a really tall building, because I mean, Bruce Willis is a very powerful psychiatrist. So he gets the top, he gets the penthouse.
That's how we know how powerful he is. He's so high up in the air.
The penthouse, if you're up high, that's where it's at.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask this. I did not get a chance to listen to D. Wallace yet.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll ask this question without the knowledge, but did you do The Howling as part of this? Because I watched that last night for the first time in ages, and that's a perfect film.
Okay. So we watched The Howling on like one of our first dates together, a couple of years ago, Tori and I. Dan's referring to my podcast with my partner Tori, called Killer Bees. Look us up. We did an episode on D. Wallace recently, and yeah, so we watched that like a couple of years ago. So it's been a little while since I saw it. And at the time, I remember enjoying it, but feeling like a little lost within it.
Yeah.
Like,
it's clearly based on a book, and it just kind of throws all the plot pieces in there, because it is based on a book.
Yeah.
It was $3, so I got it on my Nook last night.
Hell yeah.
I'm definitely gonna read it. It's a trilogy of books.
It's a movie I really want to revisit, because I think just knowing how much my tastes have grown just over the past like couple of years, I think I would find a lot more to appreciate in it than I did the first time.
I think you would enjoy it, because I put it on last night, because that's a movie that was always on TV. I've seen so much of it as a kid, and I saw that it was on Shudder, and I was like, you know what? I like this is like what I'm in the mood for. I don't really want to pay attention. I just want to watch something that's like of that era that I know is a lot of fun. But I was watching, I'm going, this is a fucking good ass movie. D. Wallace is great in it. I don't even know the actor's name that plays her husband. He's great in it.
I know you mean.
The whole thing is good.
Oh, you know what? It might actually be her actual husband. That's her husband in that movie.
Oh, you know what? I looked it up. You're right. It is. That is her
Eric
actual
Stone,
husband.
maybe, I think is his name. Something like that.
Something like that.
Because she
but
went
I
by
also
like
noticed. Oh no, good. I'm sorry.
She like went by Stone Wallace for a while, I think, and he
Okay.
died tragically young.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. He in his middle age. Yeah, he's in
Oh, that's
Cujo
a
with her
shame.
as well.
That's where I know him from because I was like,
Yeah,
I know his face. Well, there was another guy in that movie, Dennis Dugan.
yeah.
He's a supporting character.
Is
Now,
he in
wait,
it?
wait.
Yeah,
Yeah, he is. Because
yeah.
I was
Okay.
like, why do I recognize this guy? His face is registering with me because he's with. Now I'm going to forget the actress's name, but ooh, love her. But yeah, and I was like, why do I recognize him? And then I look and I see that one of his credits is he played a golfer in Happy Gilmore.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
oh, that's what I immediately registered his face. And then I'm scrolling. I'm like, oh, he directed just about every Happy Madison movie as well.
Yeah, he did like all the grown-ups movies and shit,
He
right?
did the Grown Ups movies. He
Yeah,
did Jack and Jill. He did the
yeah,
Benchwarmers. He
yeah,
did Happy Gilmore. He did
yeah,
I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry.
yeah, yeah.
He may have done uh, what was the Halloween one? Hubie Halloween.
Hubie? Oh, maybe he did. Did he?
I
Because
know it
that's
was one of the classic guys who did it. Let's see.
genuinely a really good-looking movie.
It's a very pretty movie. It's just
Yeah.
stupid. Oh no,
Yeah.
that was Stephen Brill. He did the other.
Oh
half
yes,
of it.
who's the other
Yeah.
fucking guy, right? He's
He's
the
the other
other
one,
guy
yes.
that does his movies.
But yeah, because I'm like, why do I recognize him? And he was a golfer in Happy Gilmore, which is a movie that as a kid I watched a million times.
Yeah, me too.
And that's why I recognized his face. But
That's
I was
funny.
also like, why do I know his name?
Yeah.
And then I was scrolling. I'm like, oh. It was definitely a big like moment. It was awesome to find out. But
Dude,
I loved The Howling so much, man. It's just so much fun.
the transformations in it are incredible. They're awesome.
Well, they do it two ways. They do the classic, I think it's up there with American Werewolf in London as like my favorite of the werewolf movies, where they do the nose stretching kind of thing into the snout. They didn't quite do the claws, but if you remember the one scene where they do it very cleverly, where Stone and the Magic Lady are fucking and transforming at the same time.
Uh-huh.
And they do it where they cut to him fucking, and then they cut to her fucking, and then when they cut back to him, he's a little more transformed.
Yeah.
And they just do that back and forth, which is really clever. But then it goes to a wide shot, and it's like a rotoscoped animation of their silhouettes transforming the rest of the way. And it was just like one of those, ooh, baby, I loved it.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. The score is killer. And it's like, and it's Joe Dante, so it's like very funny.
Yes.
Every single thing that is in the background, like someone's reading a copy of Howl, the poem. Like everything is wolf or dog related in the periphery, and shamelessly so. And of course, D. Wallace is just killer, and it has like the best ending.
I was gonna say it's got such a memorable killer ending.
That ending is metal, like pure metal.
Yeah,
so good.
Great. Yeah,
I loved everything about it, and it's one that like I've seen that movie probably 100 times, but it felt like I was watching it for the first time last night because it's been so long.
Yeah,
it was awesome. Yeah, it was just a great moment. But I was curious as if you guys got to it.
We did talk about it because I think Tori likes that movie a little more than I do. That was like a high on her list, I think, with D.
Highly suggest you revisit it. I think just with the passage of time, because even I remember seeing it as a kid and being like, "Oh, this is silly." And watching it last night, I'm like, no, this is like a real solid ass movie. Like, just
I think I would probably find more to appreciate it now. I think
and it's on Shudder, and whatever the print is that they used, it looks great. It's real sharp.
Cool.
Yeah, highly recommend.
Nice. Well, I'll use that opportunity to just piggyback some plugs.
Let's do
you
it.
can find our podcast everywhere on the internet at I Like 2 Movie. It's the numeric 2. We're on Facebook and Twitter at I Like 2 Movie at gmail.com. Email us. Let us know what movies you want us to cover coming up.
Because we'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll fucking do it.
We will. And you can find me everywhere at Philadelphia. It's with an F. I'm on Twitter and Letterboxd. Please follow my Letterboxd. And my other podcast that Dan mentioned, Killer Bees Podcast. It's Killer BS Podcast everywhere on the internet. Do that with my partner, Tori. We're profiling B-movie legends and having a great time doing it. We just put out an episode on David Patrick Kelly, and it was a very fun episode. Yeah.
Nice. Fun. Oh, yeah. He's got some stuff in his filmography that is going to be a lot of fun, I'm sure.
Oh, super fun to talk about. Also, he was a musician, and he released a record called Rip Van Boyman, which I think is pretty good, and I think is a reference to the fact that he is a tiny man that has looked 40 his entire life.
No matter how long he sleeps. Yep.
Yeah.
No, I've heard that record before. It's pretty solid.
Pretty good.
I would probably feel even better about it if I were a father. I am not, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So you can check out me at all the same places. MovieJohn.com. We're proud to be part of the Movie John Podcast Network. So definitely check that out. Check out MovieJohn.com for all of our words. Check out Findy.com. I do a goofy podcast called Hot Property, which is available on Spotify. And once more, I would like to shout out the Rank Bank because the two of us got to guest about a week or so ago on their Oscars countdown episode. And it was quite a lot of fun. And they were really gracious to have us both on there and listen to us just bat for 2 hours at a time, just dominating their show. So definitely give that a listen. It was really good time. So shout out to Danny Getz and Dave Primiano for hooking us up for that.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. That was like very fun.
Really had a lot of fun with that. Do I have anything else? There was something I was going to say, but I guess I can wait till next time because I don't remember.
It's all right. My name is Garrett Smith. And I like to movie.
My name is Dan Scully, and I like to movie.
And we all know that you like to movie because we like
the
movie.
movie.